So here's a very interesting question I get from my clients, and that's who gets to keep the engagement ring. So when I prepare financial statements with my clients, a lot of the times they say, well, I have this piece of jewelry, it's a diamond ring. What do I do with it? What happens to it in terms of whether it gets included as my property or not on my financial statement? So the answer to that question depends. It depends on whether the separation took place before the marriage or after the marriage. And it is quite interesting because the law evolved quite a bit in Ontario with respect to that question of who keeps the engagement ring. It used to be that the engagement ring was treated as part of a contract, and the party who broke off the relationship was in breach of the contract to marry, and they had to return the engagement ring to the other party if the engagement ring was with them. So there was basically almost an obligation to get married, otherwise you have to return the engagement ring. Obviously, that is not consistent with the no-fault rule, the no-fault system we have today, which basically indicates that it does not matter who broke off the relationship or what happened in the relationship. And the Marriage Act was enacted in 1977 to indicate that no one had to get married in order to avoid being sued. So judges had to interpret that new legislature when it came to who gets to keep the engagement ring. And there seems to be a body of case law now in Ontario indicating that rather than treating the engagement ring as an object, part of a contract, it is now treated as a conditional gift, the condition being that the marriage has to take place. And it does not matter who breaks off the relationship, it does not matter who does not go ahead with the marriage. All that matters is that the marriage did not take place. So if the marriage does not take place, what happens then? Basically, the person who gave the engagement ring gets to have it returned because the gift did not actually take place since the condition was not met. And that's how that works. So prior to marriage, the person receiving the engagement ring basically has to return it if the marriage does not take place, and it does not matter who ended the relationship. And that's what happens. That's what seems to be consistent with the case law. Now, after marriage, obviously, now we're in a situation where the gift took effect, and the person who received the engagement ring now is the owner of the engagement ring. So after marriage, if the separation takes place, let's say a few years down the road, and the engagement ring is still in the possession of the person who was gifted the engagement ring, then what happens is basically anything that is included in that person's property to be determined as their net worth would also include the engagement ring. So the engagement ring is basically their property and is part of their net worth for the purpose of equalization. Now, engagement rings usually do not go up in value, so the person who received the gift will probably get a deduction at the date of marriage that is higher than the value of the ring at the date of separation. So they will probably actually have a little bit of a benefit from the engagement ring because they would get a little bit of a deduction when it comes to their net worth. But again, that depends on the facts of your own situation. Either way, the most interesting part is the part of what happens before marriage. And it seems like if the marriage does not go ahead, then you do not get to keep the ring if the ring was gifted to you.